Hello! Today we're going to make some fish and wild rice packets. This is a really easy recipe that you can make ahead of time. It's quick and delicious meal in one packet. We're going to start with some wild rice or manomen that have been cooked earlier. I've cooked 1 cup of wild rice and I got about 4 cups out of that. And you don't need all that. You need about a cup total. You need about half a cup for each packet that you make. I'm just making 1 packet today. And then we're going to use some mushrooms. I have a mixture in this bowl of some oyster mushrooms, which look like this, and just regular white button mushrooms. You can use any kind of mushroom that you like. You're just going to slice them up. For the button mushrooms, I cut them in half first, and then I'm just going to slice across to make some thin slices. So we'd like these to cook fairly quickly. And then for the oyster mushrooms, we're just going to chop off the very stem end. I'm just going to cut it in half, and then we're just going to cut across to make some big chunky pieces because these cook very quickly. And when we go to the stove to saute our mushrooms, we're going to season them a little bit. And I'm going to use kind of a heaping half teaspoon of ground sage, crumbled sage. And I'm also going to use a heaping 1/4 teaspoon of ground sumac to season it. The sumac has a real lemony flavor and it's a great addition to the fish. So we're going to take this over to the stove and cook it, and I'll show you how that's done. Alright, so I have my pan here over medium-high heat. I've added about 2 teaspoons of sunflower oil. And now I'm going to add my mushrooms, my mixed mushrooms, my garlic, and my onions. And I'm going to saute this for a couple of minutes until everything starts to get fragrant and browns a little bit. Stop. These have been sauteing for a couple of minutes now, so I'm just going to lightly season them with a little bit of kosher salt and a couple of grinds of fresh black pepper. And then we're going to add our sage and sumac. And we're going to cook this for another couple of minutes just to get the spices fragrant and get everything blended together. The mushrooms are nice and brown now. They've released some of their liquid so they won't be too moist. And the onions are translucent and it hasn't cooked so far that the garlic has gotten burned. So I'm going to turn this off now and then we'll put our packets together. Now we're going to put our packets together. I've got here a square of parchment paper. You want kind of a rough square shape, doesn't have to be super exact. And I'm going to measure out a couple of half cups of wild rice here, and I'm going to make a little bed for my fish. You can use 1/2 to 3/4 of a cup of wild rice depending on how much you've cooked. And once I've got that little bed of wild rice, then I'm going to add my fish. I've got some salmon today, but you could use any kind of fish that you have. If you have trout or cod or haddock, or if you have a wild fish that you've caught, you can use that. And then we're going to add our mushrooms on top. The nice thing about this recipe is you can make a lot of these components ahead of time and cool them. So you could have your mushrooms and wild rice cooked earlier, and then when you're ready to have your dinner, you can just put all these packets together and put them right in the oven. So now that I've got my little packet ready, I'm going to fold it up. So I'm going to bring 1/2 over, and then I'm going to start by folding the bottom corner over and in twice. And then I'm just going to go around and pinch and fold and press the paper so it doesn't come apart while we're cooking, because we want to seal in the steam and all the juices. When I get to the last end, I'm going to fold it over and in and under and around and just seal everything up really tight. If you notice it's starting to come apart, just go back around and score it a little bit more with your fingers. So now that this is together, I'm going to put it on a baking sheet. And I'm going to put this in a 425-degree oven for 10 minutes, 10 to 12 minutes, because this is a fairly thick piece of fish. If you have a thinner piece of fish, you might want to go 6 to 8 minutes, depending on the thickness of the fish. So now our fish is all cooked, we're ready to serve it. I'm going to take some kitchen shears, and I'm just going to grab a little bit in the middle. I'm just going to cut a little opening. Be careful of the steam when you're doing this. And then I'm just going to cut widthwise, and I'm going to cut lengthwise. And then I could just open the packet right up. You could eat right out of the packet, or if you want, you could put it on the plate. And then just to finish it, I'm just going to garnish it with a little bit of parsley You could use chives or whatever fresh herbs you happen to have on hand that you enjoy. And there you go. A quick, simple, delicious dinner using gifts from the water and from the earth. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.